Okay, so now we are going to start adding some textures and materials to our model to bring it to life. So now over here I've changed this window over here to shader editor, and over here we just have this image, and I'm just gonna grab the skin tone for the character. You can use any skin tone that you feel would match for your character, that will make it look okay for the style. So I've chosen this guy. So now what I'm gonna do now is, let's start with the body. So for the body, I'm gonna grab the head, and we're gonna create a new material from here. I'm gonna pick this option here, material, and then we're gonna create new material by clicking this option here, and I'm gonna name this as skin. Press the enter key. I'm gonna scroll down, and okay, we could leave this as this. I'm gonna choose this Christian symbol, something like that. And then for the skin tone, I'm gonna click here, and I'm gonna click this eyedropper. I'm gonna just tap on an area that I feel is okay to use for my skin tone, and that applies. Then I'm gonna tap into the edit mode and press the A key to highlight all the head, and then I'm going to come over, let's see, over here, and I'm gonna assign this color to it. So assign, I'm gonna tab out, select this. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick render. I'm just gonna do a material preview, and now you can see the face color has appeared. And then I'm gonna move on and select the body, and then I'm gonna just select the body and also choose face, so that we will use that as well for the entire body. Then next thing that I'm gonna do, okay, it's gonna be the clothes. Alright, so we're gonna do the clothes. We've done this one. Now next thing is for the clothes. Okay, now of course we could tap into render to have a much better preview of this character. Alright, so this is it in its render mode. You can see how much better it looks when rendered. Okay, so now maybe let's leave it to render a little bit. Okay, so I think that looks cool. And now I'm gonna tap into my material preview. Okay, it's just a preview of the material, not the final render. Okay, so don't get worried of the color emissions or the look as of yet. Okay, this is just a preview. Now it's time to color the shirt. Now we are done with this guy. I'm just gonna come over here. I'm gonna come over here, go to image, and open another image. I'm gonna pick this reference here, and I'm gonna choose this trouser color for our trouser. So I'm going to select this trouser here. I'm gonna create a new material for it. I'm gonna call it trouser, and then I'm going to go to the color, select this option, go to the color, grab the eyedropper tool, and pick this. Alright, so now let's move over to the shirt. So I'm gonna select the shirt. Now for the shirt, I'm gonna use a different material. So I'm gonna open a different material. So this is the material that I'm gonna use for the shirt. You can find a different material for your shirt, you must not use this particular one. In fact, I encourage you to try other materials to see how your character looks in that outfit. Okay, so now we have this shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply this material to it. So let's go to material, create a new material, and then I'm going to call it shirts. Okay, so now we have this material. Right, so now for the base color, okay, I'm gonna tap on this yellow icon on the base color. Let's use this Christian Bolly. I'm gonna click on this yellow icon, and instead of using normal plain color, we're gonna use an image texture. Now in image texture, we're gonna open this material and use it for it. We could do that from the editor here. So now we are in the editor. I'm gonna click on open, and now I'm gonna find our shirt. This is it. We could let it reload. Now I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna open it up. Okay, there you go. The shirt is right there. Now we have the shirt. Next thing I want to do is, let's see right here. Okay, so now we are done with the node editor for the UV map for the texturing. Now I'm going to click on this option here and change my viewport. Now in my viewport, I'm going to go to let's see, is the UV map. Okay, alright, let me see. Okay, this is material looking good. Okay, I'm gonna go to UV editor. Alright, and I'm gonna tab into the edit mode so that we could see the UV or UVs of our shirt. So this is our shirt here. So now you can of course tell this striped shirt is looking quite a little bit off. It's not as realistic as we want it to look. So let's enhance this. So what we could do, let's scale this out a little bit. I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna start scaling. Now notice how it starts to change. It starts to increase its pixels. You can see how the pixels starts to increase as we do this. Okay, now notice how our shot is going in different directions here, and this is something we really need to fix. Alright, so to fix this, I'm gonna go to the shape editor here. Okay, and I'm gonna add mapping over here, and I'm gonna add texture coordinates as well. Bring it over here. Maybe we could open this window only. Alright, so now we have mapping here, we have the texture coordinates. So now I'm gonna start making some connections here, and now I'm gonna connect let's see here. I'm gonna connect this UV to the vector, and I'm gonna connect this vector to the vector here. Okay, now let's start off from here. Now for this material, I'm gonna toggle it off, and over here I'm gonna choose checker texture. Okay, now this is how it's looking at the moment. Okay, so could scale this so we get to have a preview of how our material shirt is gonna appear on the shirt, using this checker as a sample material. So maybe let me close this window here and open up another window over here. It should give us a better view of our node editor to see what we were doing. So shape editor here. Okay, so you can see what we did here. So we added some nodes, texture coordinates, connected it to the mapping, and the mapping connected it to the checker texture, and the checker texture connected it to principal BSDF. Okay, and this outputs it to our material. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do now is I am gonna remove this from the checker texture, as well as this, or rather what we could do, just leave it at that. Just come over here and change this to image texture, and it will connect itself automatically. So let's add a material to it. Alright, so now we could close this view from here, and done this to UV editor. Then maybe we could move this around like so, rotate it a little bit. Now it starts to look quite different. Let's get it a little bit down. Okay, something like this. You can use that. Let's have a real preview of the material. Okay, one more thing I noticed is that these paints are pretty shiny. So let's select these paints, and now I'm gonna put it in a material preview. Okay, they are shining pretty much. We don't want it to shine, so we're gonna come all the way down here, and the roughness, let's set it to 2. Now let's render again. Let's see if that made any difference. Alright, yeah, I think that looks much better. Now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dive in and texture the eyeglasses. So I'm gonna select this, I'm gonna add a new material and call it I'm gonna call this the frame, eyeglass frame. And now this one, I'm just gonna give it a black color. I'll give it a black color, something like that. And we don't want it to shine as well. It depends on you if you wanna have some shining effects on this plastic. Let's just leave it as this for now. Then I'm gonna select this, which is the main glass on the eyeglass. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna add a new material. I'm gonna call this the glass. Okay, I'll call this the eyeglass. Okay, and then I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna choose this, and now we need to do some little bit of work on this. So now for this, I'm gonna come over here and open up the shader editor. Okay, now we've got the shader editor, and I'm gonna scroll into this. Let's see what we have here. Now I don't think this is enough room for us to see the other nodes that we're gonna bring in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close this area up like so, and I'm gonna bring a new window down like this. Okay, so now this one is going to be our shader editor. Okay, that is way much better. I think so. So now what we're going to do is I am going to add some nodes. So now I'm going to press Shift A. I'm going to search for light path. I'm going to bring in light path, and I'm going to press Shift A again, and I'm going to search for matte. I'm gonna drag and place it here, and I'm gonna bring in another node. We're gonna bring in the glass BSDF, not the glossy, just the glass BSDF. I'm gonna place it somewhere, just somewhere around, and I'm gonna bring in another one. I'm gonna bring in the mix shader and place it somewhere around here. Let's give this some more room. Bring this back. Okay, this one should be somewhere around here. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring in one more node to this place. I'm gonna bring in a transparent BSDF, and I'm gonna place it here. So now we're gonna start making some connections to this. So for the connections, let me bring this towards the area where we could see them. Okay, so I hope you can see it. So now what I'm gonna do is over here in light path, I'm gonna connect the camera ray. I'm gonna connect it to, actually let's bring this to us here. I want to connect it to this one here. I'm going to connect the camera ray to the value here, and then I'm going to connect the transparent. I'm going to connect its transmissions, rather. I'm going to connect its transmission ray, and I'm going to connect it to the value as well. And then let's see here. I'm going to connect the glass. I'm going to connect the glass color. Let me take a minute. This is quite okay. We have the glass. Let's connect the BSDF of the glass. Let's connect it to the shader editor, the shader of mix shader. Okay. And then transparency. Let's connect this one as well to the shader of the mix, and then and for the mix shader, let's see right here. Mix shader, we're gonna connect this to the base color. Okay, let's connect this one here to the mix shader here. Okay, and then let me see, this is the output of a material. So what I'm gonna do here is, let's see right here, I'm gonna get rid of this principal shader here. I don't think we would need that for an eyeglass effect, so I'm just gonna disconnect it and then get rid of it, and then we just have this left. So I'm gonna connect the shader to the surface over here. Alright, so now let's do a quick render, see how it looks. Okay, so let me create a new material, or rather let me go to world, and for here we choose, let me see if I can bring in an environment to this. and then I'm going to scroll down, and over here, let me see here,